At first glance, buy now, pay later feels harmless. But underneath the friendly checkout button is a machine built to move debt, not erase it. The promise is simple: split a purchase into tiny payments. The economics are not simple, because the seller gets paid now while the consumer carries the bill later. That delay is the heart of the model. It hides the true cost of borrowing inside convenience, soft language, and frictionless approval. BNPL companies make their money through merchant fees, late charges, and sometimes financing spreads. The transaction looks free to the shopper, but every layer extracts value. Merchants accept those fees because conversion rises. In institutional design terms, BNPL is engineered to make checkout easier and spending more impulsive. That is the first hidden mechanism. Lower psychological resistance means more carts converted, more basket size, and more revenue for everyone except the borrower. The system thrives on debt shifting. Traditional lenders keep the loan and the credit risk, while BNPL often slices the obligation into a faster, cleaner package. This creates a structural flaw. The consumer does not feel a large loan today, only a sequence of small due dates that can snowball into missed payments. Small installments are deceptive. They compete with rent, groceries, gas, and every other obligation until the household cash flow starts to crack. The damage often appears late. A missed installment can trigger fees, collection pressure, and credit reporting consequences that arrive after the spending decision. BNPL companies depend on scale. Individual transactions are cheap, margins are thin, and profitability requires enormous volume plus disciplined loss management. But the model has another weakness: underwriting. Many approvals happen instantly, with limited income verification and limited insight into existing obligations. That opens the door to overextension. A shopper can stack multiple plans across different platforms, creating invisible leverage that no single provider fully sees. This is where the hidden ledgers matter. Risk is fragmented across apps, merchants, processors, and consumers, making the total exposure hard to measure. Fragmentation invites regulatory capture. When the product looks like a payment tool instead of a loan, oversight becomes slower, narrower, and easier to negotiate away. That classification battle is crucial. If the product is treated like credit, disclosure rules tighten. If treated like payments, the scrutiny can weaken. Merchants also face pressure. BNPL partners often charge more than traditional card processing, but they sell the fee as a growth investment. The hidden economics are brutal. Retailers pay for higher conversion with lower margin, while the platform captures both payment flow and consumer indebtedness. Profit comes from many channels. Late fees, interchange-linked revenue, merchant commissions, and occasional financing charges create a layered extraction system. For households, the experience is different. What began as a manageable purchase becomes a recurring claim on next week's paycheck. That is the debt-shifting engine in action. The company sheds immediate risk, merchants absorb fee pressure, and consumers absorb delayed strain. When defaults rise, the industry often responds with tighter scoring and better data. But the core model still depends on people buying first and struggling later. That means surveillance becomes part of the business. More data helps approve more customers, but it also deepens the asymmetry between platform and borrower. Algorithms promise precision, yet they often encode the same systemic flaws. They can optimize for conversion while underpricing future distress. The charge-off problem is the quiet truth. A business built on short cycles can look healthy until losses accumulate faster than new users arrive. Investors love growth stories, especially when the losses are deferred. But deferred losses are still losses, just hidden behind aggressive expansion. This is the contradiction at the center of BNPL. The product sells affordability, while the business model often depends on more consumption and more frictionless borrowing. One missed payment can cascade. A small purchase becomes a fee, the fee becomes stress, and stress becomes another payday loan or overdraft. That spillover matters. BNPL does not exist in isolation, it interacts with overdrafts, credit cards, rent pressure, and wage instability. In low-wage households, timing is everything. BNPL turns cash flow volatility into a business opportunity, extracting fees from people living pay period to pay period. Regulators often focus on disclosure, but disclosure alone is weak. If the institutional design is flawed, better labels do not fix the underlying incentives. The real fix would involve affordability checks, unified reporting, and clearer credit rules. Without that, the market keeps shifting pain downstream. That conveyor belt is the hidden architecture. Every participant gets speed, convenience, or revenue, except the one person who must repay the purchase. This is why BNPL is more than a payment trend. It is a debt-shifting engine built on optimism, opacity, and carefully managed risk. Once you follow the money, the story changes. Convenience is the surface, beneath it, the industry profits from moving liability out of sight. The next time a checkout page says pay later, remember the hidden ledger. The risk never disappeared, it was simply reassigned. Subscribe for more.